Hello, this is your instructor, Andrew Phillips. I'm the instructor for ITNW 2355 here on the Fort Bend campus for the summer. Um, this is some of our Moodle. I have strategically positioned this little window so that you can't see the phone number because this is going on YouTube and that could be very awkward. Anyway, I'm kind of here to talk about one thing that you might consider doing. Now, those of you who know me, who have taken me in other courses, know that I'm a big fan of reading the physical textbook. Now, this is a MindTap course, so technically speaking, you don't have to buy this. You don't have to buy the book. The book is embedded in the MindTap course. But the thing about online access to curriculum is that when it goes away, it goes away. But the skills and knowledge you might need do not. Which is why, as I said, I am a big fan of the Dead Tree Edition. Whether you're in a class that has textbooks accessed through RedShelf or online curriculum or whatnot, if you're really, really interested in keeping the knowledge for the long run, get the book. And just, bear in mind, it's not a book I use every day. I literally have a textbook about IE32 assembly language from my undergraduate career 20 years ago. I also have books on Python and Perl and C++. I think I got rid of the Visual Basic book. Anywho, what I want to talk about is how to read that book. Because as an instructor, I've had to develop a new skill, which is reading textbooks. So let me talk about that. Let me just embiggen myself and talk about that. Okay, so much bigger now. No, so this is the book. I apologize if it's backwards. This is Hands-on Virtual Computing, second edition by Ted Simpson and Jason Novak. My trick that I want to recommend rather to you, you will eventually read the whole book. But obviously trying to read the entire book before the first week has started is not necessarily all that realistic. I have to do it. You don't have to do it. But one thing that I think is very helpful in trying to understand new material is to get a broad overview of that material, to get a sense of the big picture of the course in question, whether this is honestly any sort of coherent course, say maybe not English literature, but any course where chapter 2 builds on chapter 1, or chapter 4 builds on 3 and 2 and 1, sometimes having the big picture really helps. So what I like to do is start by reading all the introductory and summary material out of the books. Now, this doesn't work for every book because some books are better designed as textbooks than others. If there's a book that has no substantive introduction and no substantive summary, this approach really doesn't work. But a good textbook should have both an introduction and a summary and a key terms either at the front or the back, even if those key terms aren't defined. So what you can do essentially is read the front of the book, the introduction, the preface, maybe even the first chapter, particularly if the first chapter is itself an introduction to the rest of the course. Then read the summary of chapter, read summary and the intro and summary for every chapter. So intro and summary for 2, intro summary 3, 4, 5, 6. That's why I've got all these little slips of paper. I basically tore a piece of notebook paper into very small pieces and made myself some bookmarks so I could simplify the process of jumping through the book from target reading location to target reading location. Then we get to the end of the book. If there's appendices, read them in their entirety. If there is a glossary, read it front to back, so that when you bump into those terms again in the text, in context, you'll know what they mean. This will give you, it's like putting a puzzle together. If you've ever spread, particularly a large puzzle with lots of, a large puzzle with a large number of small pieces, trying to differentiate between all those different shades of red and blue and green and whatnot, and trying to figure out where all the borders and the shapes are, and I don't know, the people and the houses and the animals and whatnot, depending on the puzzle you're putting together. Anyway, one good way to approach assembling a large puzzle is to find the edges, to build the frame. That's what I suggest you do by reading the intro and the summary for every chapter before you really start diving in on the meat of any chapter or higher than one. So you will have the lay of the land before you begin to pick up the individual pieces of the topography. Thanks, and I'll see you later. Bye.